Thank you to you. I'm always humbled and honored, when you introduce me, because I see you not just as my wife. I really see you as a powerful, mighty woman of God. And I'm not just saying that to sound good. That's how I see you. And I am thankful. You talk about what God is doing in my life, but what God is doing in your life is phenomenal. And it propels me, it encourages me. And I want to say, before all in this family, to continue, don't give up. As one of your elders always says to you, how does she say it? You've got to stay there. You have to stay so that, that you, and pull me up, something to that effect. I don't remember exactly how it goes. But I'm saying that.
She will type it in the chat, Dr. Richard.
Yeah, just type it in the chat for me so that I would know. But I feel that way too, and I'm really encouraged, always encouraged by you. And I want to say to the family that what you see is what you get. She's not one person, on the chat and then another person at home. She is who you know her to be, a woman of God, and I'm proud. I'm proud. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. This is the wife that I always wanted, that I always dreamed about, that I always asked God for. A woman who's strong in it all, who loves him, who loves her husband and her family, and who's on fire for God. And that's what I got. And I'm thankful. I'm really, really grateful. You have to stay where you are because I'm depending on you to get there. Right. Yes. Thank you, Elder Sherry. You have to stay where you are because I'm depending on you to get there. But she can't stay now. She had to move on. So you had to keep climbing too. As she continues to climb, you have to continue to climb. We have to continue to climb too. Okay, so God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. I want to take time to say happy birthday to Sister Debbie. I understand you're celebrating your birthday today. It's not over. And I trust that it has been good so far and that the rest of it would be even more wonderful, that it would be the beginning of the best days of your life, that God will elevate you, he will refresh you, he will take you to another level or other levels as you continue serving him. So happy birthday, Sister Debbie. Okay, so we want to continue where we left off. Last week, we have been looking at the broad topic is who am I? And out of that as well, we looked at who God is, because in order to understand who we are, we have to understand who God is. And one of the things that we have been looking at the different attributes of God, how he's merciful and kind and all these things. And then we looked at the fact that God is love. And because God is love, then we are supposed to be love, or we are supposed to love. And we have been looking at that, and we've been looking at who are we supposed to love. And we looked at the different people. We had to love God, we had to love our neighbor, we had to love our enemies, we had to love ourselves. And we have been looking at that. And we also said that love is practical. Whatever love is, what love does. And so we are looking at what love does. And the first thing we looked at, and it is in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the love chapter, is that love is patient. And in looking at love is patient, we saw two stories of love where one was not patient at all, and one was. And we looked at that. And out of the one that was not patient, we saw because of his impatience, he could not wait, and he ended up raping his sister. And that's what we looked at, and we looked at the fact that we started talking about rape. And in talking about rape, we asked several questions and discussed several questions. Question like, can a man rape his wife? We also looked at the fact that men and women are different, and the expectations are different, especially a sexual expectation are different. And we talked about that. And the last time we were here, I was sharing with you some thoughts about the differences between men and women, especially when it comes to sex. But it's not limited to that. And we talked about the NPV, the non-peripheral vision, and we talked about a number of different things. I didn't get into everything, but that's the last thing we talked about. We want to continue tonight looking at this thing that happened between Amnon and Tamar. Amnon, the son of David, and Tamar, his sister. Remember, Amnon raped his sister because he, quote unquote, loved her and desired her. And we know that is not really love. In fact, the kind of love that is described as or categorized as is mania, which is like a maniac, an out of control feeling. And because of that, he couldn't wait. Even though she begged him, she said, listen, wait, let's talk to daddy and he will give me to you. But he couldn't wait. He wanted her now. And so he ended up raping her. And we started talking about rape. I want to share with you some things concerning as we continue to talk about rape, because it is a reality. It is something that occurs every day, I don't remember how many seconds, somebody is raped in some part of the world. And the effects of rape, just want to start tonight by talking about that. The effects of rape. What are the effects of someone being raped? And some of the effects, and this is from doing research, there are gynecological disorders. Women have problems, physical problems, infertility, reproductive disorders. Women can end up infertile, pelvic inflammatory disease, pregnancy complication. You could have miscarriage, sexual dysfunction. By that, it means that some women are unable to have sex with their partners, with their husbands. Let me not say partners, their husbands, because of what has happened in their previous life, being raped by either a friend, a family member, etc. They now have problems functioning sexually. Then, of course, there are STDs or STIs, sexually transmitted infections or diseases, including HIV and AIDS. Some people even die from injuries sustained after being raped. There's also an increased risk of suicide. Women get so depressed that they commit suicide. Then there are chronic pain, psychosomatic disorders, all kind of things going on in their head. Women conduct unsafe abortion because of unwanted pregnancy. So these are some of the effects. For those who have studied it, these are some of the effects that they have given to us. I want us to look at the scripture and look at two stories of rape and the effects that followed these two acts. Two stories of rape in the Bible. And I've asked First Lady to read. The first one we talked about already. That's Amnon and Tamar. And just to bring you up to speed again, remember Amnon, he desired Tamar. That was his brother Absalom's sister. They had the same father, but different mother. He desired to have her so much so that he got sick. And his cousin hatched up a plan so that, he would get Tamar alone. And when that happened, he raped her. And we're continuing the story from 2 Samuel chapter 13 from verse 15. First Lady, could you read for us, please? This is right after he raped his sister. 2 Samuel chapter 13 from verse 15. First Lady.
Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her.
So you see how love could turn to hate in an instant? The Bible said he hated her exceedingly. 1 minute you love, and the next minute you hate. And, women should take a note of that. For all the men who tell you that they love you, if you would only have sex with them. You know, I love you, I love you, I love everything about you. And I can't wait, you know, if we could do this now because don't we love one another? And they give you all sorts of lyrics. And then when you give in and you say yes, bam, the emotion's gone. You know, the thrill of the chase is over. And this is what happened with Amnon. Let's continue.
And Amnon said to her, arise, be gone. So she said to him, no, indeed, this evil of sending me away is worse than the other that you did to me. But he would not listen to her. Then he called his servant who attended him and said, here, put this woman out, away from me, and bolt the door behind her. Now, she had on a robe of many colors, for the king's virgin daughters wore such apparel. And his servant put her out and bolted the door behind her.
All right, so
Then
stop
Tamar.
for a minute. Stop for a minute. Stop for a minute, First Lady. I know we have many women in this family, more women than men. I want to get from you ladies, tell me, put yourself in that position. What would you have been feeling at this particular time? This has happened to you through no fault of your own. You were overpowered, you were taken advantage of, and now this man who has taken advantage of you has put you out. Despite your pleading to him, despite you begging him, he has put you out. Tell me, ladies, what are, you know, give me the emotion that you would be going through.
Dr. Richards, we have Auntie Gail says ashamed.
Ashamed?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
No other comment and no hands are up.
And as a man, how would you feel if that were your sister, your daughter, your mother, your good friend? Talk to me.
Another comment, I want to die. Total humiliation, used, dirty, unclean.
Wow. Okay. Anyone else?
Abused. And we have two hands up, Dr. Richards, Brother Mitchell, and Elder Sheldon. In that order, Brother Mitchell first.
Go ahead.
One simple word, degraded.
Degraded. But as a man, Brother Mitchell, that happened to your sister, your daughter, your mother, your good friend, your wife. How would you feel?
Well, as I said, no word degraded because it brings forth shame, disgrace, everything.
That's how you would feel. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Punishment.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. Yes. Elder Sheldon?
Elder Sheldon, yes.
Yes, good night, family. As a man, I would feel anger, and what vengeance.
To be honest with you, Elder Sheldon, I find you use a mild word, you know. I find you use a mild word, anger. You sure you don't want to upgrade that?
Well, it's hatred, right? When they say it's hatred, anger.
Well, I'm thinking about something like rage and fury. Right? Yeah.
Right. You know, wanting to get back at him. You know, so and you know, literally plotting at how I will get back at him.
Because that's a natural feeling. This is something that somebody that you love has been taken advantage of. Yeah. So the natural human feeling would be one of anger and this, as they say, hatred.
And
okay.
Dr. Richard, we have some more comments. Before Brother Barry, his hand is up. Humiliation, enrage. There's no words to explain that feeling. angry. I would feel to give him a licking. I would be enraged to kill him, feeling disgust and unclean. Elder Brother Barry and Minister Joshua, in that order. Brother Barry.
Yeah, I just want to agree with Brother Sheldon with the anger, kind of murderous anger actually.
Murderous
If
anger.
that had happened to my any female, even my friend, even a friend of mine, even somebody that I don't know that came and told me they were raped, you know. Yeah. Could I share something short with you all?
Okay.
There was this girl that got raped in Arima, and her boyfriend was robbed some years ago. And it came over as a discussion on the radio the next morning while they were reading the papers. And the two women who were hosting the radio program, Melanie Hudson and Rachel, they were kind of making joke of it. And I wrote them a letter and saying how I felt about it, because I was saying it on work. And they responded to the letter the next morning on radio. I asked them to apologize, and they didn't apologize. And so I took the same letter and I sent it out to various radio stations and other media like The Guardian picked it up, and they had a call-in program about it. And it was, the heading of the letter was A Woman's Worst Enemy. And the call-in program, it solicited so much topics that day. My sister called me. I was in hospital. I think my second son was being born. And my sister said, Barry, you're here, and they pick up this story and they on the radio, they talking about it. I think they took the program off the air after that, but it was just disgusting how they were making jokes about what she was wearing. Probably she looked straight that hour in the morning, what she's doing, going to the market. The boyfriend only had $1. What kind of man is that? And it was really terrible. So anger is just built up in me when I hear women are treated. Because women, I find women, they go through so much already. They always sick with something. It's always some cat calling whole day, and anyhow, I go in not talking too much.
Thank you, Brother Barry. Thank you so much. Yeah, and we have to understand that we don't victimize the victim any further. Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Richards. Before Minister Joshua, someone says, I think I would be thinking how to kill him. Pastor, I cannot say what I want to say, but I will be overcome by rage and hate. Murder will be on my mind. Minister Joshua.
Yes, Dr. Richard. I'm going to be very honest. When I heard the question, the first thing that came to mind was simple. He's dead. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, I know that we're not really supposed to be thinking like that, but if you put yourself in that situation, it's not just anger and it's not just being enraged. It's more than that. It's wrath is what you're feeling, right? It's way past anger and enraged and being enraged. It's a kind of wrath that is unquenchable, I could say, like a raging fire boiling up inside of you, like that kind of anger that leads to murder. That is the kind of anger that you'd feel, or I think I would feel in that kind of situation. So I'm thinking is way past being enraged.
Okay. So someone else saying something?
No, Dr. Richard.
So my question is, one, why is it that we feel such anger? Why is it we would feel such rage? Why? Just one person, tell me, why would you feel so angry?
I believe the fact of the violation of the person that was not consensual, and understanding that you recognizing now the damage that this act would have done to the person, right? Because you as the person now that have to come and deal with the repercussions of this action. After this person satisfy themselves and go on their way, right? You have to come and deal with the repercussions of this heinous act, right? So, yeah, right? And as I said, with me, I would move very silently, but yeah, you're dead.
All right. So we feel that to the point where we want to kill. All right. Yes, First Lady, talk to me. So I have a second question.
There was just one a comment. You trusted that person.
Right. So that's why you feel the anger. So why is it my question now is
Sherry, hand this up when you're finished, Dr. Richards, and the Sherry.
No, let me hear Ella Sherry first before I ask my question. Ella Sherry.
Dr. Richard, I was just thinking the sense of helplessness, you know, the fact that you could not have done anything to safeguard as the female yourself from it. It wasn't strong enough, you know, and even to think of the audacity of the person, I think that is what will build up the rage for me to want you dead.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And all that is understandable because we are affected by it. My question is, and I have two questions. One, why is it if because a person was violated, they were taken advantage of, why don't we feel that same sort of anger, indignation, rage when people are taken advantage of in other areas? People are swindled of their life earning, people are robbed, there are home invasion, there are a number of different things that happen to people that we just think about it as just another news item. It happens to somebody else. Why is it that it doesn't spill over into these other areas of concern? Or is it that these other areas are not of concern? All right, now, I'm asking that question, perhaps not for you to answer, but for you to think about. Because crime is crime, and I know rape is a personal crime. It's a violation of your body. Just as Jesus says, all sin is outside the body, but the sexual sin, you sin against your own body. So we understand rape to be one where you're violating, you're personally violated, and I understand that. But there seems to be such a wide gap between what happens when somebody gets raped and when somebody gets taken advantage of in other areas. We see the elderly being taken advantage of, sometimes even being beaten. And we get angry, but not to the point of rape. So my question is, should we not also be as concerned for human beings being taken advantage of in other areas, other crimes that are being committed? Don't we feel something? Look at one nation has invaded another nation and has destroyed their living, their homes, everything. Do we feel that rage? Or is it that it's because it's far away? So I just want you to think about it. I don't really necessarily want you to answer, but I needed to think about it. The second thing I want to ask, and this is a difficult question, could you forgive somebody who has done that either to you or to someone you love? Because you're saying to us all that in your mind you want to kill that person. In your mind, that person is dead. Do you think it is possible? And each person has to answer for themselves. Huh? Do you think it's possible for you to forgive that person? To come to the place to release that person? What do you think?
Dr. Richards, I have a comment before Elder Minister Joshua has his hand up. One of the comments just before you were speaking there, rape is physical. And that's in connection to the question that you ask about why is it so different? And the response is rape is physical, psychological, and emotional damage to a woman by one selfish act by a weak man. And respond to this one question, with human, it's a casualty, but material, it could be replaced. Minister Joshua, and after Elder Sherry.
Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Richards. I'm going to answer very honestly and 100% a no. No, absolutely not. I'm trying to put myself in this situation and I cannot conceive the fact or my ability to forgive the person, because it feels so, I guess, personal. And if you forgive the person, it feels like you're letting them off the hook. That's how it feels when I think about forgiving somebody that did that. It feels like you're letting them off the hook, because I kind of thinking, I put myself in this situation now and I'm thinking about it. And
Okay.
I can't, because I'm thinking about, okay, so I kind of thinking about, because the only person I can kind of relate to is First Lady. So I'm thinking about that happen, right? And I cannot 100%, I cannot forgive that. I know we're supposed to forgive, but I can't conceive forgiving.
Okay, you're being honest. I understand. Okay.
So we have now Elder Sherry, followed by Brother Barry.
Well, I think that will be a real test on my faith.
Elder Sherry?
Yes, you hear me?
Yes, hearing you now.
Okay, I think that will be a real test on my faith. That is how I would know if I really close to God or not, because on the surface I can't see it, happening. I'd like to, because I want to see Jesus someday, but in reality, I don't know how easy that would be. If it has to happen, but I don't know how easy to say yes off the back, I forgive them, because I mean that is, that's cutting real deep, to violate, whether it's me or somebody close to me, in that kind of manner, and then to just jump up and say, "Oh, I'll forgive you," because I know of a situation where a child was molested by her step-grandfather, who was separated from the grandmother. But coming out of that, he was saying to them, because they're God-fearing people, well, God forgive, so why all you can't forgive? Like it was nothing. And this child was 4 years old. This was a 70-year-old or 60-something, close to 70-year-old man, right? And that was his statement. So it's like there's no remorse. And hearing something like that, I don't know that you could swallow that pill so easily and just say, yes, I forgive you and move on,
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Next person.
We have Brother Barry, but before Brother Barry, someone says it's possible to forgive, because forgiveness is for the person who gets hurt to move on with their lives. Another, it is very hard to forgive that person or persons. And another, I don't even think I want for that person. I don't even think I want to for that person. I am sorry, First Lady, that I feel like that after that wonderful message you delivered earlier. Yeah, Dr. Richardson, so we have Brother Barry.
Brother Barry.
Yeah, guys. This section here, this question here, I brought up. Hold on, Now, I don't want to get too personal, but rape is something that it's something that occurred in my family history. So years ago with grandfather, whoever, whatever, right? Now, my thing with the forgiveness aspect, I was ministering to a homosexual guy who, when I used to model, he was coming on to me, and I used to minister to people. I always talk about the Bible, and his story was that he was raped at a young age, you know, and from, I believe it was somewhere around 13 or somewhere in his teens, young teens. And now, I don't know who knows or who doesn't know, a man's G-spot or sweet spot is around by his prostate, right? Around by, well, through his, right? Or live north of more, his anal. And in him getting raped, he grew up liking that feeling, and he became gay, right? Now, but and probably men get raped also, right? And you were talking earlier, Pastor, about circumstances of rape, you know, things that rape cause. I think rape causes a lot of spiritual transference, demonic transference also, you know, because that homosexual spirit that were on the men that raped him, it was transferred onto him. And he, you know, he said he tried to go to church, and he tried, but he had stopped for a while, and then he went to a party. Well, you know, Catholic people, they would go to carnival parties and then get the ashes Wednesday. So he went to a party and he indulged in it again after so long, and the demon came back with more friends, and they haven't left him since. You know, so I think forgiveness is possible. Like if it's a matter like close to home, you know, like and like you have to forgive because you're living with the person and the person really repentant or really, I think forgiveness is possible in certain circumstances, you know. But on touching with the spiritual aspect, I think a lot of demands are transferred in a lot of cases where people get raped.
Thank you, Brother Barry. Thank you so much. Next person.
We have Sister Dr. Richard. We have Sister Debbie, but before Sister Debbie, we have a comment. I will forgive, the healing may be slow. Sister Debbie.
Good night. Good night. Professor Henry, right?
Yep.
Good night. And first of all, I want to thank everybody for the warmly birthday greetings. Thank you very much. Sister Joan, thank you for putting it up. So, Professor, when somebody gets raped, right? Now, as I rightfully say, something internal. You feel a sense of hatred. You feel disgusted with yourself because there's one. The majority of the victims that happen to is people who don't know and who don't trust, right? So that come and happen. You break down that barrier. That go out the door. The next thing, the victim that start to say, I wonder if I cause it. You know, I wonder if the things are weird, the way I move, or, you know, I wonder if I invite that person up. Right? So there's a lot of mental stress and emotion you're going to go through there, and they're going to tend to blame yourself. And as I rightfully said, when you started the program, what happens when one is being raped, be it male or female, right? So that is that in that bracket. And in terms of forgiveness, now this happened to me. I never went into no details, right? This happened to me at a very young age. And I didn't know the Lord, I didn't know the word, what God told us about forgiveness and everything. And I went about my life normal, living my life. And I was doing some things I still didn't know about it. And all I wouldn't believe is if I come into a Live Right ministry, then I get to understand certain things, what is happening to me, happen because of that, right? So when I read the word of God and he said, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Slow, but sure. I always just say, yeah, it's in church and everything, but of course, we understand. vengeance is mine, slow but sure. I say, okay, I understand. But when I start to see the manifestation of God towards that individual, I thank God today. I didn't wash my mouth, I didn't bash that person, had no ill will to that person. You understand? Over a process of time, you just start, because you know the word of God and you know what he could do for you, you start to heal. And you start to ask God now to have mercy. When you see that person suffering, you have to ask God now to have mercy upon that person. I forgive that person. And Sister Nicola, I say thank you very much. You know what I'm talking about. I forgive that person. So yes, I can forgive.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Debbie. Anyone else? Now, I asked that question,
No, Dr. Richard.
understanding that it's not an easy question to answer. We would all like to say, yes, I can forgive and move on. But if we remember when we studied forgiveness very often, and in particular a case like this, is a process. It's not a one and done thing. It's not a yes, there's not a yes or no answer. You know, there's some answer you ask and it's a yes or no, black or white. Forgiveness is very often not like that. It is sometimes a process. And it's a process for both the victim and the one who has perpetrated whatever it is. In this case, is rape. Rape is a heinous crime because it's a crime of passion, it's a crime of violence, it's a crime where you take advantage, it's a crime when one person is helpless, and especially when it's not just one person that has raped, when it's a gang rape and that sort of thing. It is really a heinous crime. And to forgive that takes more than we have as human beings. That's where we have to really call on God and really trust in God. And even doing so, it is not easy because God made us with all these emotions. And these emotions arise within us when things like that happen. And you see, it is not just the person being violated. We get violated too. Those who are the loved ones, even as Joshua was talking. You know, in a case of that, he would be violated too because he would have seen his mom or heard about his mom being violated, and he would feel violated too. And one of the worst things for a man to feel is to be violated or to be helpless. When you feel helpless, this is one of the worst feelings as a man. Women are able to handle that better than men can handle it. I can tell you that. But forgiveness sometimes needs not just you, it needs a community effort. It needs intervention. It needs counseling. It needs somebody holding your hand. Because your primary emotion would be one of rage, anger, vengeance. These are the things that will come to the fore, will rise to the top. And I'll tell you something, the enemy knows that, and he would feed on that, and he would want you to feed off of that. That's why we have to be determined even now. God forbid it should happen to any one of us or anybody that we love. We're not calling it into being. In fact, we pray against it. I pray against that with my, for my family every day. That there be no rape or robbery and, an accident and that sort of thing. We have to even now, the time, like when Joseph was in Egypt and there were 7 years of plenty and there were 7 years of famine. You don't prepare for the famine when there's famine. You have to prepare for the famine when there's plenty. So at this particular time, when it has not happened, we are to prepare ourselves for eventualities like that. And that's why we're talking about it. That's why we are discussing it. And we have to be real. I tell you, I would feel like I want to kill this person too. I would feel that way. It doesn't take away my salvation. It doesn't make me evil. It doesn't make me not fit for the kingdom. It says that I'm human and I'm touched, I'm hurt, I'm pained. But I want to also let you know that forgiveness is possible, even in extreme circumstances like that. People who don't even know the Lord, who are not even believers, have forgiven others who have hurt them and their families. How much more we, as believers, are able to do that? So one of the first things we need to do is to watch our language. Don't say to yourself or to others or even to us, I can't forgive that. Don't say that. We need to change our language because our language sometimes sets our mindset. When we say, I cannot forgive that, you have convinced yourself. And if you have convinced yourself, I can't convince you otherwise. If you have convinced yourself that I cannot forgive that, then there's nothing that I can say. And some of us even block the Holy Spirit because that vengeance is so much in us. So the first thing we need to do is watch our language. We need to tell ourselves, it is difficult, it is hard. I don't know how I can. I don't know. I would want to, but I don't know how. There's nothing wrong in saying that. There's nothing wrong in saying, Lord, I would want to kill this man, this woman, this person, these men. I would want to feel it. But I know, Lord, that this is not what you would want for me. So help me, Lord, to change my mindset. In fact, we should pray, the first thing we should pray that we don't ever experience it. But God forbid that we do experience it. We need to be prepared. So we need to tell ourselves, no, there's nothing that we cannot forgive. There's nothing, as difficult as it is, there's nothing. It will not happen at the snap of a finger. It will not happen. It may not happen in a day or a week or a month, even a year, but it can happen.
Dr. Richard?
Yes.
I have a private message here and Elder Sheldon hand is up, but let me just read the message. When I was younger, I was gang raped. And it took me years to let go and forgive. And it also caused me to be addicted to sex. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elder Sheldon?
Let me just say this. Those are some of the effects of rape. You get addicted, and you know, even as Brother Barry was sharing, you know, it changes you sometimes in that you feel that this is the normal thing. So a man being raped by a man will start wanting that now. You know, one of the things I want to do, I was really trying to do it for this week, but it didn't happen, is to get somebody, an expert, to really come and talk about rape, the effects of rape, what it does to us and how we can overcome it. All right, because to tell somebody, well, God said to forgive, so forgive, that does not work. And that is more cruel. You're hurting the person on top of the hurt that they have experienced. Anyway, Elder Sheldon, go ahead.
Dr. Richards, as you're speaking there, something just came to mind. And I know it's not rape, but I was just thinking about what Jesus said when he was on the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And I was just asking myself the question, had he not said that, do you think it would have been a situation that the wrath of the Father would have been meted out on the people of the earth?
Well, let me put it this way. Remember, Jesus had a mission, and that mission was to die. So he was going to die. I think when Jesus said, Father, forgive them, it wasn't really for the earth. It was what was happening there at that particular time, what they did to him, what they had done to him. At that time, they were casting lots for his garments. They were doing all sorts of things. And in looking at them, Jesus said, Father, forgive them. All right, the them wasn't forgive everybody in the earth for what they're doing. Otherwise, you know, everybody would be forgiven. We didn't have to ask for forgiveness. So it wasn't the earth he was talking, it wasn't the population of the earth Jesus was talking about at that particular time. It was for those who had, at that particular time, what they had done to him. They didn't know that they were crucifying the Son of God. They didn't know that all the evil that they had done, what they were actually doing, they had no idea. So for them, he said, Father, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. But I'll tell you something too, as you ask that question. That's the place where we want to come to. And we think, well, it's Jesus. So, it was easy for him to say that. No, it wasn't. That was a man there. Every blow, every pain, every thorn, everything, he felt it as a man. And he had to go beyond that. He had to look beyond what was going on to be able to say those words. That's where we want to come to. And it's not easy. It is not. I am not here sitting down telling you, listen, it's easy to say, Father, forgive them for raping me, or raping my wife, or raping my mother. It's would be one of the most challenging things for anybody on this earth. But I'm saying to you, it is possible. That's what we have to strive to be. Because if we can do that, other things become easier to forgive, That is the ultimate as far as I am concerned. Somebody who has raped somebody, because if they have killed someone that you love, that is bad too. That is, I don't want to say it's as bad. I don't want to really compare them. But you see, in one instant, the person is still alive and suffering, or you are still alive, and you have to live with that memory all the time. The other thing is that the other one is the person would have died, and sooner or later you will come to terms with the fact that they're gone. Again, I don't want to compare both. I don't want anybody to tell me, no, one is worse than the other. But the point is this: if we could come to the place of having suffered that kind of violence, suffer that kind of pain, that kind of hurt, and we can forgive, then we have the heart of Christ. And that's what we want. We want to be able to come to that place where no matter what happened on this earth, we can forgive. And again, let me say, people have done it before. People who have lost not just loved ones, who have lost children to rape and murder, and they do not know Christ, and yet they have found it in their heart to forgive. I played you something, was it some months ago, a couple of months ago, with the policeman who set up the other one and he went to jail, lost a few years in jail, and now they are friends and they're partners, and they're spreading the good news of forgiveness. You see, this thing called forgiveness is one of the most challenging things that we have to deal with as believers, but it is possible. Easy? No. Possible? Yes. It is possible. We're going to continue tomorrow, because I see we have come, close to the end of tonight, but I want you to think about that. Think about it. What would happen if something happens, something terrible happens? Maybe not rape, somebody, a drunk driver, something. Could you forgive that person? And if you can't, then that is going to be our prayer going forward. Father, take me to that place where I could release all. Where I could release all, God. Because if I am to love people, I have to be able to forgive them, no matter what they do to me. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying it because it's easy. I'm not saying it because I'm there. I'm not. Trust me, I am not there. But we're going to get there together. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. We continue this discussion tomorrow, God's will. And First Lady, back over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Richards. We truly enjoyed tonight's ministry. God is doing something in our lives, huh? And that's why this is so close to our heart, Dr. Richards, because he's dealing with us, bringing us into that place where he can glorify himself and teaching us to let go. I so thank God for this ministry, for this word, a word I meant to say. I thank God for this word because it's powerful. And so we give God praise, Dr. Richards. It's waking up something